Okay.
We'll get started. I already told my horror stories, so if I can't hear or whatever, we'll just have to go as far as we can. But anyway, thanks everybody for coming. Kenny's gonna say a prayer for us.
Gracious Heavenly Father, we'd like to thank you for giving us another day on earth today. We'd like to ask that you lead and guide each and every one of us in our decisions we make for all the people in the county of Richland. Just like that you protect your heads over all the citizens here and all the citizens in the United States. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Pledge of allegiance.
Do it. Who's gonna lead the pledge?
Me?
Okay.
Pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next, approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nay? Good, John. Approval of the previous minutes, June 9th, 2020 meeting.
I make a motion.
Second.
Jerry second. All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Approval. Has everybody got to look at the bills? Any questions on the bills? If there's no questions, I have a motion to approve the payment of the bills.
I'll make a motion to approve the bill.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nay?
Joe Blair's gonna say something, will you?
Do you want to say something?
No, I just said aye.
Oh, okay. Oh, I thought John said.
That's okay.
I told him, I said, I think Joe Blair's gonna say something.
Couldn't hear.
No, I was good.
Okay, next is the second reading of vehicle license fee. Do you have that, sir?
Be it ordained by the Council of the Town of Cedar Bluff, Virginia, that Section 66-8 subsection B of the Code of the Town be amended as follows. B, tax amounts and deadlines. Effective July 1, 2020, every motor vehicle, trailer, or semi-trailer presently garaged, stored, or continuously parked within the town or otherwise required to be licensed under this article shall have imposed upon it a license tax of $15. Thereafter, all license taxes under this article shall become due and payable on the first day of January of each year, and the license tax receipt hereinafter described, evidencing payment of such taxes, shall be kept in or on said vehicle or available for on-site inspection not later than the 15th day of April of each such year. In the event that it cannot be reasonably ascertained where any such vehicle is normally garaged, stored, or parked, the situs for imposition of the license tax shall be the domicile of the owner of such vehicle if an individual, or the principal place of business if the owner is a partnership or a corporation. So that's the same language that we had before, it was just the amount is changed to $15.
Any discussion? No discussion about it? Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion for the vehicle licensing fee.
Second.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nay? Adoption of the state law, misdemeanors and traffic cases.
Could we back up for just a minute? Normally, these things take effect 30 days after adoption, so if you don't mind, could we do that again and include in the motion that it takes effect immediately? I'm sorry.
No problem.
Just have them amend your motion.
Yeah, just a minute, motion.
I make the motion to adopt the vehicle licensing fee to take effective immediately.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
Second,
John.
John,
Yeah.
all in favor? Nay? Okay, the adoption of the state law misdemeanor traffic cases.
Okay, now there's two of those that we adopt every year. One for criminal charges and one for traffic charges. Okay, so we'll do section 38-1 first, which is for criminal charges. Be it ordained by the council of the town of Cedar Bluff, Virginia, that section 38-1 of the code of the town be amended to read as follows. All of the provisions and requirements of the law of the Commonwealth contained in Title 18.2 Code of Virginia 1950 as amended, as in force and effect on July 1, 2020, or as added to, repealed, or amended in the future, except those provisions and requirements which by their very nature can have no application to or within the town are hereby adopted and incorporated into this chapter by reference, and made applicable to and within the town. All such provisions and requirements as set forth in said laws of the state as in force now or enacted hereafter are hereby adopted mutatis mutandis and made a part of this chapter as fully as those set forth at length herein. And it shall be unlawful for any person within the town to violate or to fail, to neglect, or to refuse to comply with any provision of Title 18.2 or other applicable title of said code, which is adopted by this section, provided that in no event shall the penalty imposed for the violation of any provision or requirement hereby adopted exceed the penalty imposed for similar offenses under Title 18.2 or other applicable title of said code of Virginia.
Does that require a motion again?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
You've got another one, too?
and that one's
Well, they're separate.
same things to take effect immediately.
Oh, okay. You need to read it as something in a different part?
This one, you waive the second reading as part of that motion as well.
Gotcha. Okay.
I'll make a motion. You waive the second reading.
Take
You got it.
immediately.
Take two.
And take effect immediately.
Is that a second?
But before we vote on it, I didn't pick up everything on what we're talking about. I don't really feel comfortable voting,
Okay.
not realizing,
The town code makes certain offenses misdemeanors inside the town limits of Cedar Bluff. So we, every year, adopt all of the same provisions in the state code, whatever has been changed in the past year. It's the reason we do it every year, as if they were the code of the town.
yeah, I'm with us now. I understand what we're doing now. Second.
Second.
All in favor? Nays?
Okay, and there's one more, right?
Yep.
Okay, this is the one for traffic charges. Be it
What was the
ordained,
first one for, Jim?
for misdemeanors,
This one, I gotcha. Okay.
that was
Gotcha.
38-1, and this one is 66-1.
38
that I'm about to read. Be it ordained by the council of the town of Cedar Bluff, Virginia, that section 66-1 of the code of the town be amended to read as follows. Pursuant to the authority of section 46.2-1313, the Code of Virginia 1950 as amended, all of the provisions and requirements of the laws of the state contained in Title 46.2 and in Article 2 of Chapter 7 of Title 18.2 of the Code of Virginia, as in force and effect on July 1, 2020, or as added to, repealed, or amended in the future, except those provisions which are contained in this chapter and except those provisions and requirements of the violation of which constitutes a felony, and except those provisions and requirements which by their very nature can have no application to or within the town, are hereby adopted and incorporated into this chapter by reference and made applicable within the town. References to highways of the state contained in such provisions and requirements hereby adopted shall be deemed to refer to the streets, highways, and other public ways within the town. Such provisions and requirements as set forth in said laws of the state, as in force now or enacted hereafter, are hereby adopted mutatis mutandis and made a part of this chapter as fully as those set forth at length herein. And it shall be unlawful for any person within the town to violate or to fail, to neglect, or to refuse to comply with any provision of Title 46.2 or Article 2 of Chapter 7 of Title 18.2 of said Code of Virginia, which is adopted by this section, provided that in no event shall the penalty imposed for the violation of any provisions requirement, I think we've got a typo here, provisions required and hereby adopted exceeds the penalty imposed for such a similar offense under Title 46.2 or under Article 2 of Chapter 7 of Title 18.2 of the Code of Virginia. What that is, 46.2 is the motor vehicle code, and that particular portion of 18.2 is the DUI law.
Got a motion?
Need a motion and to waive the second reading.
I'll make the motion to adopt it and waive the second reading.
Me.
Amanda.
Have a second?
I'll second
All in favor?
it.
Nay. Chief Mike Brown? Come on down.
What I just handed out, I meant to get those copied over to put in your packets. That's just the year-end totals for the police department from July 1st of 2019 to July 1st of 2020. Numbers reflect, I think they reflect really good on my guys. We're a small department. I've got 3 full-time officers, and those numbers for a 3-man department are fairly impressive in my opinion. Numbers on the way up, as we live in a pretty crazy time. Speaking of the pretty crazy time, there's a lot of legislation going out that's going to affect police departments come in August of the special legislative sessions. Personal opinion, there's not a lot of good coming from it. These Police Reform Act that they're coming out with, it's going to add a lot of added expense if a lot of this stuff does pass, and it's going to pretty much handcuff a lot of officers out here doing their job day to day. They'll be taking a lot of non-lethal options that we have, and like I said, just personal opinion, it's not going to be a lot of good of it. With one of the legislative changes they come out, it's called a community policing data collection, which is adding another, I hate to use the term burden, but it is on my guys with information that we have to collect and we have to submit to DCGS every quarter. One of the things that we've come up with to help, I didn't bring it up, it's passing around. This is the amount of information that we have to collect and submit to every traffic stop that we do, whether if I write them a ticket or a warning ticket. So we've come up with a warning ticket so we can comply and keep that, be in compliance with them so they don't take our 599 money away from us. Like I said, once again, it's just an added burden, something else that we're going to have to collect and submit so some statistician somewhere can compile a bunch of stats.
Wow.
Race, sex, all of that has to be submitted to DCGS every quarter. I'll get off my soapbox on that. A couple things I wish I could have had was our new uniforms. They have been delivered. They're having the patches sewn on them now. Once again, the insurance company, that was an unsolicited donation to provide new uniforms for my officers. I think I promised last time I'd have them to display this meeting, but circumstances beyond our control. The patches are being sewn on now, so hopefully on the next council meeting, I'll be able to show this off. Really, other than that, there's not a whole lot going with the police department. Like I said, just come August, a lot of changes will come down, especially with body cameras. That seems to be a hot topic, body cameras and storage. Yes.
Who would be the best person for us to contact to oppose this?
Right now, that went into effect July 1st.
It automatically goes into effect.
That's already in effect. Every agency has to submit that. And the threat is just like, I've been doing this for quite a while now, and I've been told by prosecuting attorneys, the best way to get your point across to somebody is you hit them in their pocketbook. And, like I said, with that has to be collected. The state is actually holding our, the threat from the state is they'll withhold your 599 money, which is that's something that the police departments get if you don't comply with what they're requesting. Will Moorfield is a good one to start with, but like I said, come August 3rd when they have the special legislative session, that's when a lot of stuff and a lot of expense is probably going to come out of that legislative session. That'll impact especially small agencies like mine. Body camera storage for 5 years, all contact. Right now, I'm required, anytime I get out of the car and I turn my body camera on, or my officers use their body cameras, if that video is evidentiary value, I'm required to hold that for 2 years. Okay, if you're using a service like Axion, which stores to the cloud, like Richlands, Sheriff's Office, a couple other places use. If I have to store every contact, anytime I get out of the cruiser, I got to turn my body camera on, whether I'm stopping by to ask you about your knee, or stopping aggravating Terry when he's out here on a tractor, I have to save that and maintain that for 5 years. That takes up space. That takes up storage. That's
crazy.
It's crazy. Especially if it's not evidentiary value. And it's going to be every contact you make. With the stuff that's on there, there's also legislation being presented saying that any contact we make. So if I get the call of a suspicious person walking down Cedar Valley Drive, I get out and it's John Bob and his car broke down. I'm going to have to collect that same information and submit it. That hasn't been passed yet, but that's in.
What was the talk last night we talked about? They're going to say someone attacks a police officer now.
It is a misdemeanor offense. It's no longer a felony to assault and batter a police officer. Well, like I say, if they take it.
And I mean, yet every day you've got 15 to 20 to 30 officers getting shot.
Well, and if they take our lease less than lethal from us.
What was he saying? If somebody's running or getting in trouble or something, he can't fire and shoot. He would just have to tell the
Firing into a moving vehicle.
to run.
Firing into a moving vehicle, because the example that Sheriff Hyatt, I strongly support and back his decision last night. Firing into a moving vehicle. They're trying to take that away. He used the example of the officer that was shot 2 years ago up in Bluefield. The officer was shot twice. Thank God he had his vest on. I was watching out for him that night. The other officer drew his gun and fired into the vehicle as bad guys driving away. They're trying to take that away, shooting into a moving vehicle away. They're trying to do away with stop strips or spike strips. I'm in a high speed pursuit through town. My agency doesn't have spike strips, but I'm looking into it. Coming down Cedar Valley Drive, he's doing 90 miles an hour. Danny or TJ or Ryan, somebody deploys the spike strips, it's a controlled stop. But they're trying to take those away from us. It's, like I said, come August, it's going to be interesting. I'm just hoping that somebody will have the foresight to see a lot of these proposed stuff, just like the fact, what do the stats mean to anybody?
Right.
Hopefully some people will wake up and see that a lot of this junk is just not feasible, and you're going to get a lot of people hurt. Because basically, if you take away my less than lethal, You got some big old MMA out here jumps on me, I'm too old to fight.
Got you.
So yeah, my choice is get off of me, push him off, and then bang bang. So, sorry to take so much time.
I don't know.
Chief, also, didn't you say that you were going about the code books? That's what-
Oh yeah, I reached out and contacted, I think it's called TLC, it's who does our code books. We were looking for a code a while back, and I found 3 different code books who had the same exact code in it, but they were 3 different numbers. So I mean, this was back when I first started. I was looking to bring back my auxiliary police officers. I've contacted them, and for $150, once again, I will pay for that out of my $5.99 money. They're going to send me a PDF version of the town code. So we'll have the most up-to-date, we get the little supplements, it's got the inserts. When they send it to me, it'll be the most up-to-date as of the date they send it. And, we'll get the updates that way. It's a PDF version, it's $150, because those books, like over on the shelf over there, those are almost $300 a pop. This is a PDF version, it's $150.
You bring it on.
Put it on your phone or print it if you want to. Our town codes, if you print it, it's 1,200 pages. So.
You wait a while.
Oh, yeah. That way you can look it up, and you have the most current, I talked to John, he's got an issue he's gonna bring up in executive session over a code we didn't know existed. We're getting complaints about it, but we did find the code section. Another thing that I neglected to bring up was we did receive the DMV Highway Safety Grants this year. I don't know the amount of money, or I applied for all 4 of them. I don't know which ones I've got, but we were accepted. And at the next council meeting, I should have an answer and be able to tell you what we're getting the Highway Safety Grants for.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Chief Brown is definitely an asset to Cedar Bluff. He really is.
Impressive numbers. Public comment? Come on, let me go.
My name is Brian Sword. I live at 128 McCall Street. I'd like to introduce myself to the council and formally announce my intentions of running for the town council for Cedar Bluff.
Awesome.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely.
You worked at a prison for a while, didn't you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Many years ago. Many years ago.
128 McCall Street,
127.
127.
Yes.
Any other?
Tim Altizer, 205 Old Kentucky Turnpike. It's been good to see that over the last year or so that we've been made some significant positive progress towards collecting our delinquent taxes. No one's been more vocally, openly, and publicly on that issue than I have. Mr. Lester mentioned at one council meeting that there was over $5,000 collected in just 1 month alone. And in addition, it's my understanding that about $10,000 has been collected as a result of the recent letters sent to those who owe. That's over $15,000 in revenue for the town that required no new taxes or fees. Although I have some reservations about the timing of these collections due to COVID-19 and the unemployment rates, these collections must be done. As I said, the town has made some positive steps, but we have a long way to go. As of February of this year, more delinquent tax was owed to Cedar Bluff than was owed to Richlands currently. Cedar Bluff was owed over $61,000, while Richlands is currently owed about $57,000. Neither of these numbers include interest or penalties. Please keep in mind that Richlands has 5 times the population of Cedar Bluff, yet had less tax owed than we do. Yes, we are making progress. That's a great thing. But all that progress has been made on the real estate tax side. We continue to have no enforcement procedures in place for the collection of delinquent personal property tax and vehicle licensing fees. The obvious answer is to implement the DMV STOP program, otherwise known as the Vehicle Registration Withholding Program. The statute of limitations is 5 years for personal property and vehicle licensing fees. Even if you direct Mr. Absher to implement this program tonight, it's going to be questionable by the time that it's up and running whether the 2015 personal property and licensing fees will have gone past the statute of limitations and therefore become not collectible. According to the town documents that Mr. Absher gave me yesterday,
Any more public comments?
I got one, Lee. I got one, Lee.
There you get it now.
I'm drunk.
There was a comment, drop the remote.
No. Today I went over to, today I came over to town hall and I spoke to Mike. And so this happened Saturday. Now, I couldn't tell you what time it was, but this was later in the day, like 6 or 7 o'clock. This was a dark blue Subaru 4-door. The paint was faded real bad. And so I don't know her name, but anyway, she was standing on the porch with a package in her hand. And so I was thinking, it's drugs probably. And so then I'm thinking that blue Subaru is going to come out this way, but it didn't. It stopped at her house. She got off the porch. She went down there to that blue Subaru. She handed that guy the package, and then that guy handed her a bag, one of those money bags. I'm guessing money was in it, I guess. And then she went back in the house, and then I left Miss Steele, because that's who I was talking to, Miss Steele. And so I went up there. I looked real close, got the tag number, and then I'm gonna give it to Mike. So I gave it to Mike. Today, and Mike told me to take care of it. So I know he will.
We thank you.
And Lee, I got something else too, Lee. The house beside of us. The house beside of us. We've had cat problems. We've had mice and rat problems, and it needs to be torn down. Needs to be torn down.
Jim Thompson.
Yeah, Jim Thompson. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, please.
Okay, man, we appreciate you coming and talking to us.
Yeah, thank you, Lee.
Good boy. Any more public comments?
I'm still interested in this tax thing.
Huh?
I'm still interested in this tax thing. Where are we at, John, on collecting our taxes?
I think what Tim said, it'll be a little bit of work, but I think it would be best to get our revenue back to do the DMV stop. It's gonna be a little bit more work on me and Missy to get it done, you know, but
We're gonna get more money.
absolutely, yeah.
I like money.
Oh, yeah.
What do we need to be doing on that?
The DMV stop, I guess how I would go about that, isn't there a plan that I can go through, what, Tim, David Larimer? Or, and he'd send like a deputy clerk down, probably,
The first thing you have to do, John, is you have to sign a contract with the DMV.
yeah,
It's like a 2 year, it's for 2 years, I think it's $30 for that 2 years. When I brought it up in 2017, we actually signed the contract,
yeah,
but the program was never implemented, so that contract would have to be signed again.
gotcha,
At that time, there was some concern about where we don't have a commissioner of revenue, and so I looked into that. And actually, once you sign that contract, you then have access to the DMV database to be able to tell which vehicles are actually in Cedar Bluff. I know the list that you gave me has Tom Foley on it. I don't know if you know Tom or not, but
Right, yeah, the bricklayer.
Steelsburg always has.
Right,
You know, we can clean up things like that. But the
Right.
first step is to contact DMV and actually sign that contract. Now, they also do training programs. That would really, in my opinion, would be your call as to whether you would, you know, want them to train yourself and Missy or whoever you feel like needs to head that thing. Or, if, you know, the Treasury Department at Tazewell County, either one, whichever
Okay.
one you would feel most comfortable with.
yeah, I believe, I was talking to, I don't wanna put them on the hook to say it was definitely, but it was Adrian, I believe, from the town of Richlands, that they was gonna use, David Larimer's office.
I don't think Richlands has a personal property tax. Mr. Carmody might.
But maybe it was, they was doing something to get some kind of stop done through David Larimer's office. What happened was, he sent a deputy clerk down to train the girls or to show them what to, I can't recall, Tim, to be honest.
There's all kinds of, I mean, that could be real estate possibly if you're talking to
Possibly,
Adrian, because you can do all kinds of.
Maybe it was water bills, that's what it was water bills.
You
It was
can-
like, delinquent, on your water or taxes or something like that.
I mean, there's all kinds of things that we could do to collect these delinquent debts that are owed to the town. The other one is the debt set-off program, where they can take it from the Virginia tax return.
Yeah,
The DMV, personally, I think is the simplest and a good starting point. You know,
they'd probably send someone down to sort of walk us through it, wouldn't they?
They do offer a training, it's kind of like a PowerPoint presentation
Yeah,
to walk people through it and stuff. Like I say, whichever one you would feel most comfortable, whether it be going through the treasurer's office, that's Mr. Larimer.
yeah,
You know, or the Mr. Larimer's office, or through the DMV themselves. The lady I spoke to on the phone was extremely helpful. Like I said, we had concerns last time we talked about this of not having a commissioner of revenue, and I brought that very topic up to her. And I think that cured a lot of the problems and concerns that I personally had. But how do you know whether a vehicle, you've got a 3-year-old tax, and how do you know whether that vehicle is being housed in Cedar Bluff or in Steelsburg?
right,
Because of the huge Cedar Bluff mailing addresses.
right.
Well, the DMV maintains the physical address of those vehicles. And from that, we'd be able to tell with certainty what's in Cedar Bluff, what's not, clean up our tax list, much like what you and Tom Lester did with the real estate tax list, and then proceed to collect those monies through the DMV stop. It just seems like a lot of money that we're leaving on the table to me.
Square John? Does that help?
It helps. I think we need to pursue some of that or look at it real close. I certainly think everybody will pay taxes. I do. I don't think everybody has to want to pay taxes, but if I have to pay them, I think we need to get it.
Absolutely.
And, yeah, so I think it's something we need to look at in the next few days.
Good.
Hey, may I say something, John? I don't think you were here, but this vehicle license fee
Yeah,
that we've implemented, changing it from $10 to $15, now that's supposed to come out with the real estate taxes. Personal property and real estate taxes are supposed to come out at the same, on that
On the same ticket.
same tax ticket. And in this agreement, or this reading that we had here, I know that we did say that there would be the old vehicle tax code that we had would give those people until April the 15th to pay it. But you see, if it comes out with the real estate taxes, they only have to, what, is it January the 1st or whatever? If it comes out in November or October.
They got till April, don't
They have to be paid by December the
I mean, they're supposed to be paid December 5th, but
Well,
December 5th, but
and that should be on there with it, but I like the idea that you have about the.
Well, see, it's not a personal property tax, that was the town sticker.
Well,
The date on it has always been different in the town code. And you all can change it to whatever you want to change it to, but, you know, it wasn't actually a personal property tax, that one was just a flat fee.
right.
Charge.
This is my understanding, this would be collectible the same way that county taxes are collected. For personal property and real estate taxes, for us.
If you turn it over to them to do the collecting, it would be, you know, all I'm saying is that the deadline for town stickers was always different than the deadline
Well,
for
that's
taxes.
true, that's true. That present a problem.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah.
Tell me if I'm wrong, Mr. McLaughlin, but I think what you're saying is, since the personal property and the vehicle licensing fee are going to be billed together on the same ticket, they should have the same due date.
That's correct.
That's what you're saying,
That's
is that,
correct. That's correct.
does that help anybody or not? Or did I
Yeah.
just confuse you?
No, you're right. But we,
I think that's what.
Good.
What was the due date before on the stickers, Jim? You recall?
15th, the bank,
April 15th.
April 15th,
yeah.
but now it'll be December 5th.
You all haven't changed it.
We better get on that, I guess.
All you did is change the amount of
The amount,
I don't know
right,
what to call it, the car tax or.
Right.
But you know what I'm talking about,
right.
what used to be the
Well,
car
we-
sticker.
then we need to redo that because that needs to be done at the same time with personal property. I mean, the real estate taxes, I think.
It just makes sense because the Commissioner of Revenue will have that information, Dave Anderson will have that information and
We need a
but
motion,
the problem with that though is, I mean, that's gonna be extra fee in December. You know, most people, they're used to getting that in April, aren't they, Tim? But it's just $15. I mean, I don't think
Yeah,
it
but
would
the
be.
problem is, 40% of them aren't paying it.
Right.
Like you said, we need to collect it. We were anticipating that with this new, with the, raising those, that amount of money,
Right,
10 to 15, it's gonna bring us in,
3,000.
should get about, no, it's gonna be more than that.
Oh, the 15 was gonna be
Yeah.
extra. The 5 extra was gonna be
If everybody
3,000.
paid it, 100% of the people paid it, would be about $18,000 to $20,000.
Yeah.
If they don't pay it, we're still gonna get that little, probably $10,000
Right,
to 12 at the most. So that's why we do need to take a look at doing that at the same time. Just get away with the stickers, they're done away with. Collect the money at the same time we collect the real estate taxes. I thought that's what we had done.
can we change that by a vote, Jim, or would we have to have a public hearing on that?
No, 'cause I don't think you have to have a public hearing on it because you're not changing the amount of the charge, you're just changing
The date of when it's, okay?
Do we make an amendment to that vehicle license fee that we just discussed?
I guess you could.
Okay, well, do we do that in closed session and see if we can work that out with it?
What is it, Joe?
Sir?
You wanna, the person that made the vehicle license fee, Terry Stevenson, had made the motion, and Johnny Smith had seconded for a vote to 6-0. If they will amend their motion to change the date from April 15th till December 5th, we can make sure that we're legal on getting that sent out with all the taxes as well. You know what I'm saying, the vehicle license fee, Johnny? So do you want to amend your motion, Mr. Stevenson?
Yeah, I made a motion to
change it from April 15th,
to December the 5th.
okay, for the vehicle license fee. You second that, Johnny?
I'll second that.
Okay.
All in favor?
Right.
Nays?
Okay.
Are you gonna have some kind of a prorating problem there that you gotta deal with?
I'll have to prorate the first year
Yeah.
because they bought them in April,
That's what I'm saying.
so they will only be paying
So
for
whatever goes on the bill you're sending out to everybody, it can't be,
$15.
right,
It's gonna have to be, because they bought them in April, that they've only been good for basically 8 months. So you're gonna have to prorate 33%, right?
$10.
It'll be $10.
well, I know what you're saying, but I don't think you can assume that every single person that got one by April the 15th is gonna be getting another one again in December. the 5th.
Right.
So you may have to be doing refunds to some people. You know, you all just voted on it, so I'm just telling you, somebody's gonna come through the door and say, how come I paid for a year, but I'm not getting a year's worth of, you know.
Because we changed the way we collected the taxes. I don't know any other way to do that, really.
Right.
I don't.
I don't either. Well, I guess we'll just have to take it by case basis, or,
I think you're not gonna get a lot that's gonna come in and object, I don't think.
right.
I mean, I have no way of knowing. I certainly am not going to.
Yeah. So Jim, consider it a donation to the town. That's good.
It's not deductible, and you gotta have something to deduct it from.
Right.
Well, you don't have that problem.
So what are you talking about, Jim? What do we need to do?
Well, I guess.
Do we need another motion?
No, I'm just saying you gotta sharpen your pencil there so that, when December the 5th rolls around, anybody that doesn't come in and buy another one by then, you're gonna have to decide what to do with those people.
Well,
They're not gonna get another notice that there's a sticker due by April the 15th. They're not gonna get another notice. All they're gonna get is a tax sticker.
Right.
And if they pay it, fine. And you can't give refunds to everybody that's got a car listed on there because some of them didn't pay for it.
Well, you know what I'm saying is, let's say that you bought a sticker on April 14th, okay? It's supposed to be good for a year, right?
Well, yeah, but things change.
So if you're driving around on January the 15th with that same sticker,
we don't do stickers no more.
well, but, you know, the receipt in your vehicle, okay? The unsticky sticker that you carry around with you. So it's still supposed to be good, you know, for a year. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Mr. Mayor? John, does the town maintain a database of the town stickers like they do personal property and real estate tax? Like the one I got from you yesterday, does the town do that for the vehicle licensing fee?
Yeah.
That seems to me like it'd be pretty simple on December the 5th, if you come in to pay your vehicle licensing fee, Missy has a printout of those that paid last year. If you're on that list, you pay $10. If you're not on that list, you pay $15.
Right.
Okay, see, what I'm saying is if somebody doesn't pay by December the 5th, they're still good to go until April the 15th of next year. They already paid their year's fee for 20 to 21.
That's what I think.
See what I mean?
You're gonna have to decide which way you go, because you're gonna send out the vehicle licensing fee and the personal property tax on one ticket. Unless you do this, you're gonna send it out on one ticket with different due dates.
Right.
And that's gonna be, you're talking about a nightmare then.
So I think, you know, the people that come back in before December, they're gonna renew and get a credit for the part of the year that they already paid in April, right?
I just did a little,
I would say by paying the $10, they're getting that credit, instead of paying the 15.
But anybody that,
well, here's what the correct amount mathematically should be about $3.75 would come off $15.
What we do, like put a line
For the first year, we could charge $11 a quarter, whatever the difference is there, that's $11.25, $3.75. And that would be a prorated amount for 4 months. Because that's what you're doing, 4 months. And after the first year, then we can go ahead and do it on a yearly basis. We've got to start somewhere.
I'm just saying, I think the town manager's office is gonna be kind of stuck with having to, figure out the credit that somebody is entitled to when they come back in December.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So,
All right.
So what do we come to the conclusion on?
well, you all just voted to change the date on this thing that I read earlier, so I'm gonna strike through that date there. You said December the 5th, right?
Well, no matter what we do, we're always gonna be in the middle of the year, pretty much 8 months in, if we wanna get it lined up for December 5th. So, and I think that's what Joe's point is, right, Joe?
That's correct. Well, we could only charge $11 a quarter for that one-time deal, because from then on, it starts on.
I think just leave it at 15, if they complain, we'll knock it to 10, make them
Well, I
pay
suggest you talk to the commissioner. I suggest you talk to the commissioner of revenue and ask.
I'm gonna have to leave the
what he
room.
said. I'm like you, I think we ought to go ahead and bill it and get what we can and,
Cause not everybody's gonna be tight like Jim Singleton, you know.
I think your boys go with the 10 worms, you're gonna have to either fish or cut bait.
Come on.
we're gonna finish.
Jim's good job.
I love Jim
One
Singleton.
year will settle.
Huh?
1 year will settle.
1 year it'll all be straightened out.
Yeah.
That's
That's
right.
right.
Okay, John, why don't you jump on some town manager report?
Woo! What's up? We need to get some bids, work on some bids on, I've had a ton of complaints off College Hill. So, College Hill is probably our worst road in the town of Cedar Bluff. So anyways, we're gonna get some bids on that. If y'all know any paving contractors, I'd like to get 2, 3 bids at least, maybe 4 bids, and do it that way. But, we've had a ton of complaints, haven't we, Danny and TJ? I mean, we've got, and that's a rough road, it really is.
Yeah, I got approached the other day about possibly widening the road, because if you go coming out of the U-turn right there, there's a woman said that she had to pull off to the side and almost run off the side of the bank to let a car come out of that U-turn just so she could get to her house.
Right. BDOT's currently replacing the sidewalks in front of Randy's Gateway Drug, plus, they're putting a new crosswalk in going towards Taco Bell. Mayor and I, myself, we met with him a couple months ago, didn't we, on that?
I think, Joe Blair is.
Yeah, Joe was there. Romford Moss just completed their audit, and they'll be here next month with a report on August 11th. Linda Singleton got Gethsemane Baptist Church, Chris Hess, I want to say his name, is that Chris Hess? Youth director. They painted the Cedar Bluff gazebo out here and some signs in a lot, and it was good, wasn't it, Linda?
Well, it was, and afterwards, the kids that were going to prom,
Yeah.
they had their pictures made out here.
Yeah.
So it worked out really good. Yeah, they were all out there and, yeah. So they were glad to do that, yeah.
Oh, they was happy, they enjoyed it.
Yeah, they did.
We had that lady come down that brought us a check and she wanted to get a picture with us.
Yeah.
She said, man, it was great.
AJ,
Oh, yeah,
She
she's,
take pictures
So
of
she
Cedar Bluff,
is
everybody knows about
sweet.
the gazebo.
Yeah.
We had our dump truck, we got it over the hill up there at the overlook, we was hauling some debris off. And what we had, a rear axle go out, Tara?
Rear axle broke.
Rear axle broke, and we had to replace some brake lines and tighten up some bearings, didn't we? We got that taken care of though, and then, we'll see, oh, Tom Lester came by, Supervisor Lester came by, me and him, we went and viewed the Cedar Bluff Transfer Station for new markings and upgrades to be completed. Just because we've had a lot of incidents up there, people running back and hitting the gate and can't get the gate shut. The gate they put up's too tall, and elderly people can't get their trash over the gate. It's been a mess. And Santec has officially sold to the Republic Waste Services. So that new company up there is Republic Waste Services. I was on the board of supervisors for 8 years before I became town manager, and I thought I had all the contacts, but obviously I don't. I've called VDOT forever and ever trying to get that brush cut down Edgewater Drive. I made one call to Lee Dye, he got it cut in 2 days. So it's not what you know,
It's who you know.
it's who you know.
Yeah, we die.
So now he's telling me it's the same day. It was county's actually what made the boy Ric Flair. So he got that cut like that. So
Well, their boom axle been broke for a year. Like, I called and they said, we just got it back there at Clump, we don't run up down Cedar Bluff. So I thought they did it that day.
yeah, we've been having a problem with the transfer station as far as hauling special pickups like couches. They're wanting everything steered now because during this COVID pandemic, everybody home cleaning out their garages, basements. They're taking in more trash in 10 days now than what they used to take in a month. So not only Tazewell County's feeling the effects, you got Buchanan County feeling the effects, you got Dickinson, all counties. Everybody that's stuck home is cleaning out. So I was able to get a hold of David Massingale, super nice guy. He did drop us a container off for our special pickups. It's not for public use, but it's for our use. Say you have an old couch you need us to pick up and haul off land, and we can. Put it in that container, and then of course, when it gets full, they'll come and switch out boxes for us, so that was nice. I talked to Eric Young for probably 45 minutes the other evening, and they have come up with for the CARES Act funding for COVID-19 expenses here, and actually, I'm on the committee with all the town managers and a few supervisor members and all that, because we're going to end up at the end of it, after it's divided up, probably get a bigger check for the town, but they're very, very strict on how they're going to split that money up. So far, we have received $3,000 for reimbursement of what we've spent, like how we built these screens out here. Rick Pruitt built the plexiglass and all that. And of course, Chief Brown ordered probably $600 worth of masks. We get some reimbursement on that. So they gave us a check for $3,000 reimbursement. They also gave us another check for $4,500 for a continued response during this COVID. But I didn't realize that they was going to go ahead and disperse the other funds until the committee met. But this is just the lower level funds. We'll probably get more funding, because Tazewell County as a whole, don't hold me to this, but I want to say we received Tazewell County $2-3 million probably for all of COVID-19. But just to start off basically with our businesses, we've got $5,000 for our retail customers here, and they actually, what I did was I reached out to Chase Collins, the attorney from Tazewell, and asked him to give us a copy of the application from the Industrial Development Authority. Let us copy that, so whoever's, from the retail sector or whatever, that they're, because that money is going to be dispersed from the town of Cedar Bluff. If you're in the town of Cedar Bluff, we can't give money to a business from Richlands or in the county. The county will take care of the county, and the town of Richlands will take care of theirs. But so we with our businesses, we got $5,000 for retail, so we could disperse out $500,000 per business. And, we got $3,000 for restaurants, and we got $3,000 for non-specialty businesses. So I asked exactly how to break this down. Of course, retail, we know what retail is, car lots, you know, stuff like that. Restaurants, we know that. Non-specialty businesses would be anything other than not sold goods, like hair salons, something like that, you know, non-specialty business. So what was effective? We're gonna have an application. We've got the application, but when I got the application in the mail, on the bottom of it, it has the Industrial Development Authority address. So I asked them, could they send that to me in a PDF or something that we could change that so we don't have to retype that whole application. But, we'll see anything else. Oh,
You go ahead.
sorry, Tim.
Well, among these businesses, those that.
We need to form a committee, like a 2 or 3 person committee, nothing, you know, maybe one citizen or something like that. And what we can do, and of course, right now, my parents does have a furniture business in town, and they do have a real estate company in town. They would be excluded. They couldn't get any of this money because I feel like that would be a conflict of interest. We're looking at people that, you know, like restaurants, anybody else that applies for anything on this. And we'll do like, say if we enter a gym and one of them wanted to serve, you know what I'm saying, from an outside as a citizen, or whatever the board agreed to, couple board members, we won't make it complicated. That way.
My comment was gonna be on those businesses that we share with Richlands, 35%, they have 65%.
Well, to be honest with you, I asked Eric to add those just to beef our numbers up. Because if we hadn't added those, we would have got like $1,000.
I mean, but those businesses expect some from Richlands and some from.
Well, and whatever their split up of the percentages are, is what we can give them.
I think they messed up and gave us food, so they gave us somebody. We counted everybody we could.
We count everybody
Or
we
John
could.
did, not me.
I count everybody I could. But,
We got more money.
yeah.
And you're not, I don't know if you're required, you don't even require to give everybody a certain amount. No.
But I've still got the checks. I haven't deposited anything yet because the guidelines with this money is so strict. If you start, you know, we can't reimburse ourselves for missed water payments or anything like that. So I really want to be sure that when we get ready to use this money, everything's documented, you know, because, you know, I don't want to get in trouble, you know. So I still got all 5 checks in my desk drawer for this, so. Oh, one more thing. Mayor Dye asked me to put this on here. Someone's putting trash out after dark. What was that about?
Well, me and Ryan had talked, and James Brooks works across from the high school, from the dealership, and he said, you know, it's just not a good time to put trash out right now. Our bear population is really, really big in Cedar Bluff, and he specifically said Cedar Bluff. And he said, here the next, I think it was this month, July or August, he said they're really gonna get aggressive. Because the food will start deplenishing in the woods, they're gonna be out here eating. He said, you know, because we mentioned, he said, yeah, I put it that way. Or maybe the chief, Ryan, to talk to you some about it.
He did, and he mentioned the code section, because it's illegal to feed bears. The only foreseeable thing, but I'll look into it, is for any criminal offense, you have to show intent. So by you setting your garbage can out, are you intending to feed the bears? Are you intending for the garbage guys to pick the trash up? We do have a town ordinance, stating when the trash can be set out. Really no enforcement action with that. If I go write somebody up for setting their trash out at 6 o'clock on Sunday, when pickup is 8 o'clock on Monday, I think it's only 24 hours in the Terry. What is the what action? What enforcement action is it, or what type of fine? Is it considered a misdemeanor offense? Is it a civil penalty?
I mean, could you not just send a letter out and, advise people this time of year?
Well, I think we've done that. I put a pretty large post on Facebook.
Did we get a letter about the trash pickup, and specifically said that you were to put your trash in a trash can
No,
when you put it out, not in a bag.
container.
What?
The only thing I've seen is, and like I said, this is once again going back to the code book, you've got 3 different code books, 3 different code sections. It says a container, but container is not defined. You know,
Well, a bag's not a container. Or it shouldn't be. Well,
It shouldn't be.
It may be considered.
It could be considered a
it's in the
container.
bag. I don't know, but you're right, it needs to be specified, because that's what the problem is. But if you don't have a trash can that's got a lock on it, it's not bear-proof, you know, the ones that they use, the commercial ones, they use the locks on, and the bear can, they're bear-proof. You don't expect people to have those, just don't put your trash out till early in the morning when you're gonna be picked up.
Right.
I tell you. That's what I do. I put it out the night before, then get picked
oh,
up.
it's gonna get torn into.
Most of the bear problems we're seeing is over here at Hack Horse Apartments.
Yeah, the
I mean, they'll pick up Thursday, we're getting bear calls Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, because all week long, people are throwing the trash in. When the trash can gets full, they don't care, they'll just take the trash out and just throw it on top of the can, on the ground, wherever it lays. You know, bears can smell trash miles away.
And the other problem area is Lawson Lane, up there at those apartments that they just started renting out. I was up there today, I had some complaints, so I just wanted to ride out, and I ran into Brendan Henry Lawson. And that bear has come into their house the last 2 evenings and tried to get, lean up against their house, lean up against their door. Henry was pushing mowing his yard with a 9mm in his pocket. He said, I wasn't gonna shoot it, but I was gonna shoot at it just to scare it to get it to run off, because I'm scared to death of it. And,
So we have less than lethal resources through the police department. I went out and bought a case of rubber bullets, and they are effective, you know, because bears are creatures of habit. If a bear comes and tears your trash up tonight, guaranteed he's gonna come back next week on the same night. They're creatures of habit just like we are until you can determine. You know, but the town ordinance is allowing people to put trash out, and you say trash pickups Tuesday. After 6 o'clock Monday or 8 o'clock Monday evening, they put the trash out.
that's right.
And bears are nocturnal. So, you know, that's most time when bears are feeding. I spoke to Inland Game and Fishery, and they were great. They sent me all kinds of stuff, and I put a lot of it out on Facebook on the police department's page, you know, asking people to, hey, you know, if you gotta be working at 8 o'clock Monday morning, your trash gets picked up on Monday morning, on your way out the door, set it out for them to pick it up, instead of setting it out the day before.
Well, I just want to ask Terry, I know Bill Stevenson, he about got killed in the head-on collision here, on Father's Day, got hit head-on. Is there any way that we can help him and maybe get a box built for the trash up there at the end of his apartments? You know, like where his water meters are at? Because Henry said all them individual cans, same problem like TJ was saying, people just throwing their bag of trash on top of the can. Those trash strode everywhere up there today.
I think you need to take the, go up there, you need to take the papers up there and go up there and tell them that they gotta be kept in cans and kept at their apartments until the day you have a pickup. Because if you build a bin out there, they're just gonna come out there like Marian's up there, and they're just gonna throw it in there and it's gonna pile up. We just need to make copies of that. Go up there to each individual and tell them, you gotta have a can, it's gotta be kept at your apartment until the day it's picked up. So if we build a bin up there, look at Marian's. Marian's, she can clean one, and then 3 weeks later, it's built up 2 foot inside that bin.
That's true.
But if we take that paper up there, I've slowed Travis Hackworth's apartments down a whole lot. Right now, if they leave their cans out there, I take their cans and set them in front of their front door and put another one of notices on top of it. So it's slowed down a whole lot. Mostly there's 2 apartments over there continuously want to do it, like I was down Travis's office and told him, and they won't come and talk to him.
Really? Anything else?
Nope.
Town reports, team.
Mayor's report. So there was one main line leak repaired on Union Creek, one main line leak repaired on Fourth Street and Middle Street. All the samples were satisfactory. All meters were read on time, and they flushed the water mains in various places throughout the system.
Sure.
For the month of June, had 4 monthly meetings, 0 calls during the month, and total hours of meeting and training and other was 63. Total hours on call, 0.
Town police report for June is 43 calls responded to, accidents worked 2, we made 2 arrests, 45 traffic stops, issued 24 summons, rode 4,128 miles, and they assisted another jurisdiction 1 time. Chief, did you want this report given too? This is
Well,
a
no,
hearing.
that was informational, just
For us.
posted on our Facebook page, and
Okay.
then I said I would present it to you guys as our hearing.
That's all. We have no DUI arrest or
Okay, next is closed session, section 2.23711-A7, legal litigation. Crossroads Engineer, Project Green Bean, Project Ponzi, and Project Peacock. All in favor?
So can you have it on the I looked at my phone just now.
Hey, Dave. Dave.
Yes, sir.